Well, hello everybody. I'm leaving work, and of course, I look at some feeds as the new House Speaker and Pierre Poilievre and Justin Trudeau scrambling arm in arm with the new Speaker, black man, so that they look so good. But it's huge. This is explosive, massive, down with the crown kind of achievement. It's great for me as I made videos. You can go back on my timeline, and I made a statement about the crown customary law, and that in fact, folks, nobody goes through Parliament and speaks at Parliament live to all Canadians without being extremely vetted. That is the crown customary law of the Parliament and absolutely all the legislatures. So for the entire Parliament, Justin Trudeau, Pierre Poilievre, Jagmeet Singh, to say they didn't know was a complete and utter lie. Now, Mary Simon's busted. She is busted. As I said before, she clearly processed Zelensky and all speakers, as she always does, and all of the security detail that's sworn to her, our highest law enforcement levels in the country. And do you know what's coming down the pipeline? The Nazi 98-year-old butcher, SS Butcher, real, authentic, the whole world knows. He's been celebrated by Canadian Parliament and the Governor General's office, our highest office of Canada, many, many times. In fact, he's had medals placed on him many, many times. Do you know who knows exactly who this man is many, many times? Pierre Poilievre. The records are coming. Justin Trudeau's always known. Pierre Poilievre has always known. Now, Trudeau's busted. He's busted. Prime Minister of Canada, you are a fascist socialist. You were trying to get the world to go along with you, but he wasn't alone. Pierre Poilievre is with him, arm in arm. Now, Pierre Poilievre tried to make a denial. I didn't know anything. But yet, Pierre Poilievre has known who this man is over several decades, many times. In fact, it's not the first time he was celebrated by the Parliament, and absolutely, while Pierre Poilievre was Privy Council and was there as the Minister of Foreign Affairs. He knows exactly who this man was and what he was doing there at Parliament. He knows all about him. Canadians, First Peoples. Are you really going to give our highest offices, Her Majesty's official opposition leader, Jagmeet Singh, leader of NDP, and Justin Trudeau, our Prime Minister, a free pass when they've known about this gentleman for decades? In fact, they've celebrated him many times and decorated him with medals, knowing full well his entire history. Now, they tried to keep it hush-hush. They tried to play stupid. But again, I'm going to tell you all, I've read the entirety of the United Nations Security Council resolutions since 1945. I don't think there's another Canadian who's done that. I did. And you can find these records while Canada sat in the United Nations Security Council, and you can find the records when Canada didn't sit on the United Nations Security Council. So while Justin Trudeau, Pierre Poilievre, and Jagmeet Singh seem to think they have everybody fooled, they don't. And Russian USA absolutely, vehemently deny them, and deny them to the point that they're looking like fascist socialists, like they are, like Canada's designed. Folks, Justin Trudeau's polls took a super dive. He's going down, and he's going to take Pierre Poilievre with him so that you all get to vote for the less Nazi, which Nazi fascist socialist, because that's what we are here in Canada. We are built in the constitutional monarchy design system. We don't have Jews as our savage peoples defined legally, like the Enabling Act of then Nazi Germany. We have the Indian Act 1876. Our savages defined as less than people many, many times, including by Pierre Elliott Trudeau, Justin's dad, defined them as Aboriginal. We've always dehumanized the First Peoples, exactly like the Nazis did with the Jews. Where did they get the idea and the legislation to do that? Well, from Canada's 1876 Indian Act. Go read it. It's still our legislation today. Go read all the repeals and amendments. There's still much that needs to be done. It's still there. Exactly what was done to the Jews of Nazi Germany's time period as a constitutional monarchy has been done and is being done to the First Peoples in Canada. It hasn't stopped. It's modeled after that legislation that is still in power and enforced today and constitutionally enshrined in Canada. And people don't see a problem with that. Especially after now the revelations that I told everybody. It's an I told you so. Nobody goes in the Parliament without being extremely screened. They knew he was Nazi SS. They knew exactly who he was, all the players, all the parties. And now because Justin Trudeau's going down and his polls have eroded so bad, he's going to release those records, those crown records for all of you, so that hopefully Pierre is going to take a nosedive too. So that way all Canadians have a choice. Asshole A, socialist fascist, or asshole B, socialist fascist. Or split your vote on another socialist fascist for NDP and even the socialist fascist Green Party. Because they're all the same. Even our old, very old Communist Party of Canada, very old, one of the oldest parties in Canada, is divine socialist fascist. Not even true communist. They say they are, but they're not. And I learned this when I applied to name our party the CCP. Large C, small c, big C, little c constitutionalism. Nope, they didn't want it. They wanted all caps. They said all parties voted, and I have the records right from Elections Canada. All the parties voted. We'd rather them communist than ever constitutionalists. The people must never have constitutionalism. That is your socialist, fascist, authoritarian regimes running Canada in its entirety. They all fight for a crown of power. A big crown federally, but they have 13 little ones for all the provinces and territories. I'm going to be spending the rest of my week leading up to Sunday, our big meeting for our party registration, hammering on Manitoba. Manitoba facts. You're going to see on my timeline less videos, more posts, shining a big spotlight on Manitoba. And there's a big thing that I want all my friends and followers and all those at CPC, or PCC, sorry, Party of the Canadian Constitutionalists, as we were forced to change our name to meet a CAPS logo. Folks, this is what I want you to know, those in the party and going forward. In Manitoba, Governor General doesn't have the Crown land. Manitoba is the small postage stamp original Canada, right there at the Great Lake in Winnipeg. And folks, that was the original federal Manitoba. The rest of it and all those numbered treaties made and territories carved up to make Manitoba is all provincial crown land. And it's actually lieutenant governor and council to premier. If any province wants to do provincial constitutions and settle all the land claims for all the numbered treaty Indians in Manitoba, starting with numero uno, Treaty 1, you only need a premier, and you can fast track Part 5, Section 58 of the Constitution very easily. More easily done than the entirety of Canada. You're the one province that in its entirety, outside of the postage stamp, that Winnipeg area is all up for settlement at the provincial level. This is the province to show the rest of the country. I'm going to be spending this week doing post after post in all the legal detail and all the extreme detail, and I'm giving the Constitutional Conventions Act, at least the front page will change, for Manitoba, specifically for Manitoba, with some variations. Like this one, Lieutenant Governor and Council of the provincial legislature. Yes, I've read every autocratic crown colonial constitution in Canada, and Manitoba has a distinction that's different than the rest of Canada, which makes it prime ground. And in fact, post this video, I'm going to go back. You know what? I'm going to do one more video. And I'm going to take Canada's greatest legal mind on provincial constitutionalism, Richard Albert, and tag him with the new Premier of Manitoba. And we're going to put them together in one live. I'm going to do a nice, detailed live. And all the posts I do this week with that live, all the links to all the overwhelming legal reality and truth for all Manitobans and all First Peoples of Manitoba will be outlined clearly, easily found, easily searched on all government acts, legislation, and of course the constitutional acts of Canada and the provincial constitution of Manitoba, and all, again, legislature related legislation. And I promise you, Manitoba is ground zero to do what can be done throughout Canada. It's ground zero, and it's huge. And I'm going to reach out to my friend Professor Richard Albert in the state of Texas. I'm going to articulate all this for him in an email. And then I'm going to go on to the new Manitoba Premier, and we're going to see what he thinks about all of it. And we're going to see where NDP is. Are they just like the Liberals and Conservatives? Are they down with the Crown? A betting man would say yes. Just look at BC. Look at the atrocious human rights violations in largely unceded BC. And what's being done to not just the Wet'suwet'en, but 26 other nation groups there who've never signed treaties, refused to sign treaties. There are 3 groups in Manitoba who are unceded. It's much smaller than Caledonia, Ontario, but not less in any respect, and extremely small comparatively to the massive lands of what's British Columbia. And I know Canadians and First Peoples don't know all this stuff, but you're going to see this week, I'm going to articulate the most massive presentation in the province of Manitoba, for the province of Manitoba, for the First Peoples entirely in Manitoba, and all Manitobans. And maybe that is going to be ground zero. Who knows? It's going to be up to the new Premier of Manitoba, a First Nations man who has a chance to do the right thing. Resist the corruption of the Crown. Don't embrace it. Don't become one of the slavers. Don't be an Uncle Tom. Don't be that evil. Don't do it. Don't do it. That's my video, folks. It's explosive. Share, share, share. So much more coming. It's an exciting week. And it's also troubling because it's that big hit when you lose, and I lose 99 times out of 100. But you know what? You keep trying. And in the event you get that one win, it's always so fantastic and it's always so explosive. The world stage has been incredible, but maybe we can start the process right here this week. Who knows? Who knows? But you don't know if you don't try. You can't win that lottery if you don't stay the course and try. So that's where my energies are leading up to Sunday in our meeting. That's what I'm going to do. And when I do the next live video, it is going to be for the Premier tagged of Manitoba and Professor Richard Albert together. And again, I'm going to be emailing him to get that through. This country needs a major overhaul. You, the people, need the power, and you need constitutionalism. Those are the highest laws of a land. Real constitutions, federally and provincially. We need complete dismemberment and redesign federally. But you can get there. You can get there by getting a majority of provinces to do the provincial constitutions. And when it spreads like wildfire, it will take down the federal evil, the one ring that rules them all. And we can be a real federalism, a nation within a nation, sharing the nation like it should have been, and the power vested in all the people together. You set the rules of governance. You make the how to govern. You show the accountability that they must follow, and you put it in place. That's what constitutionalism promises. You can do so much. 1,000 referendums in one can be done in 6 to 9 months' time. That fast. A premier can enact this process in 30 days, his Ascension Day. This Premier of Manitoba, his Ascension Day, he can get it done. It's up to Wab Kiinu. Wab Kiinu. It's this one time a First Nations person is at that head. He doesn't have to follow the party. He can do what's right. He can make a soul for his nations, and the nation in Manitoba, the sovereignty of that province for the First Peoples and the Manitobans inside, known as the settlers. He can get that done. God bless everybody. Share the video. Explosive, massive. It's coming, and we're all going to see it because Trudeau has no choice. He's going to release all of it, and you're going to learn that these are evil, evil, evil people. Unbelievably evil. I've known it for some years, but now all of you are going to see it. God bless. Share, share, share. Time to get on the road and get home. Exciting week. Lots to do. Bye now.